Hi Sean, how are you?
Very well, thanks.
Oh, wonderful. And what brings you in today?
Just a general health assessment.
Okay, not a worry. Now, have you had an iridology exam before?
No.
No. Are you aware of what it entails?
I've heard of it, but no, not so much.
Okay, not a worry. So an iridology exam, we generally just look at your eyes, and we take into account the colour and the structure of your eyes. And then we relate them back to like a little bit of a map that we've got as well. So everything in your eyes relate to a body part or something that's happening in the body. So it's really quite interesting actually. So it's a completely non-invasive procedure. And what I would actually be using today is a little pen light, a little torch. And also there's a light in here as well as a magnifying glass. Mm-hmm. So I'll direct you throughout each step as to what I'm doing. But look, generally this doesn't actually hurt at all. But if you do find that's uncomfortable, if the light is penetrating your eye in an uncomfortable way, just let me know and I can stop any time. I won't be holding up the pen light or the magnifying glass light for too long. I'll just be generally making some notes down about what I can see. And today I'll also be taking a couple of photos of your eyes so I can actually show you what I'll be describing. So you don't have to try and imagine it, which is really good. So what I'll be looking for mainly in the first one is I'll be doing a frontal examination, and this involves the magnifying glass and the light. Now that'll mainly be doing, I'll be looking at the colour of your eye, as I can see here anyway. They're nice and blue, so I can see that from here already. But I'll be looking at the colour and also your iris and the iris, the pupil shape and size compared to your iris. Now, are you aware of what your iris is?
No.
Okay, not a worry. It's the coloured part of your eye. So when I refer to the iris, that's the coloured part that I'm talking about. I'll actually show you in this book here. This is what I'll be referring to. This is a map of your of a right and left eye, and depending on what kind of patterns we find in your eye today, we'll just relate them to this map, and then we'll be able to see what kind of nurture points we need to focus on in your body. Now you may not actually have these symptoms presented. It might actually be in your parents or your grandparents or great-grandparents. So because your eyes and your patterns do actually come from generations beforehand. And you might just be presenting those in your eyes today, but not actually in yourself. So any questions that I do ask today will mainly be, you might not feel those symptoms, but maybe your mum or dad has. Okay. So what I'll do first is I'll do your frontal exam. Now, are you happy for me to continue, by the way?
Yes. Yep.
Perfect. Not a worry. All right, so with this exam, I'll just get you to look in at my forehead here and raise your eyebrows up. So what I want is I'd want to get a really nice clear view of your iris, because sometimes the eyelid actually covers that up. Mm-hmm. Yeah? Okay, so I'll be going on the right-hand side. I'll switch this on. Again, just let me know if it's uncomfortable. So if you can look straight into my at my forehead and raise your eyebrow up. I may need to touch your eye a little bit just to raise it up a little bit more, but just to let you know. Yeah, are you ready? Mm-hmm. Great. Beautiful. They're a good, lovely blue colour. Well, the right one is anyway. I'll come in on the left and have a look. Okay. Wonderful. Great. Well, I can see that they're both blue, which is great. Actually, to be honest, some people do have different coloured eyes, so you never know. So the blue actually means, refers to like oh, is your eye okay? Yeah, okay, great. It means you're a lymphatic type. So a lymphatic type means that you may or may not experience respiratory or inflammatory conditions. Have you ever experienced those before? No? Do you know if they exist in your family or?
My mother has asthma.
Asthma?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah. All right, well then that that would explain where the blue eyes came from. And the structures as well, I noticed, they're quite nice and tight actually, which is really, really good. So the structure or the fibres are really nice and tight around the eye. Now when I take a photo, I'll be able to actually show you what I mean. But that actually means that you have like a really good strong resistance to like disease, and it means that like you have like quite a quick recovery rate as well. So do you notice that you get sick a lot, or how is your health generally?
A1, yeah.
A1, yeah. I do notice that you're in construction here as well. So yeah. So any days off or anything like that you noticed, or
any days off? And,
yeah.
Generally, sort of any cuts and scratches and bruises heal pretty quickly. So.
Oh, that's really good. Okay, well then that would definitely relate to the structure of your eye, so and fibres. So what I'll do is I'll just have another look as well at the pupil. So I'm just going to come in around again on the right hand side, or your left. Yeah, wonderful. And I'm just going to check the pupil on here. Great. All right. So you actually have quite a nice small pupil. So it's often actually called meiosis. So it just means that you can digest and metabolize quite efficiently. Now I did notice in your health history that you did that you did say that you are quite hungry, you know, at certain times, all the time. Yeah, no worries. Well, look, you do have quite a good physique as well, so, and you are quite fit from your job, because being in construction, you do quite a lot of form work and work on the tools. So just as long as, you know, you're able to actually fuel that hunger as well, but it does mean that you have a quite nice, quick metabolism. Have you always had that?
Yeah.
Always had that? Yep, from birth. Wonderful. Very lucky. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a photo of this frontal one here, and then I'll be able to refer that to you, and you'll be able to actually see exactly what's going on.
Cool.
All right. So, there we go. All right, so I'll just pop it onto the bigger screen. All right, so these are your beautiful blue eyes. Obviously you've seen them before, but not as this close up. So we've got your left one here and your right one here. So as you can see, you do have quite a small pupil there, but it's really nice and round, which is great, in wonderful shape. You don't have any markings around it, so it's really quite nice and healthy. And then with the fibres that I was talking about before, that's all these fibres here. So they're really quite nice and tight. So that would mean, you know, you have a really good resistance as well to diseases, and quite a good recovery rate, etc. So, and that's the same here on your left one.
Very
Great.
good.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. So what we're going to do next is we're going to have a look at the side-on view. So this will actually create quite a different view. It gives me a little bit of a 3D. I can see any indents and things like that in your eye, and then we can refer to the map as well, like I showed you before. Okay. Right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be using this pen torch, and I'll be putting the magnifying up here, and then the pen torch up to the side. Okay. Okay, great. Just make a couple of notes. All right, I'm just going to have another look. Great. And let me just have a look on the left-hand side. Oh. Just to see if the structure's the same. Yeah, wonderful. Actually have a really good pupil reaction time as well, which is brilliant. So I forgot to mention that one before. Okay, so you have what's called like a plethoric structure. I'll take a photo of it so I can explain it, because this is getting a little bit complicated. So let me just... Okay, we're going to come in on your left. Wonderful, and on your right. Great. send that through. Alrighty. Alright, so as you can see, the colour isn't as beautiful and blue as it was before, but that's okay. They're still the same colour. This is only mainly we're getting a little bit more of the structure here, so that's what we're seeing. As you can see, there's like what it looks like little divots. And this here, this jaggedness over here around, so you've got inside the jaggedness between the pupil and this line here, it's the digestion zone. So that structure there is called the plethoric structure. So that actually means when you have that type of structure plus a couple of these little, they look like round or oval type of shapes around, that kind of means that you have like a sluggish blood movement. And so like your venous blood flow can be quite slow. There's a loss of tone, or you have like a regular heartbeat. So have you noticed that you get like cold extremities or anything to do with your hands or feet?
Circulation sometimes, but I have carpal tunnel.
Okay,
the work
yep.
I do, so I'll have numb hands at night, and during winter sometimes sort of cold feet, cold hands.
Yeah. And have you noticed that gets better or worse with different movements or anything that you do?
Usually the work doesn't help it, yeah.
Oh, the construction.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, no worries. So, have you been able to manage the pain or the extremities or the numbness?
I go to an osteopath.
Oh, great. Okay.
Once a week, and they treat me and stretch me and.
Brilliant. Yeah. And do you find that works?
Very much so. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, wonderful. And are you doing the exercises at home as well? Are they able to?
Not as much as I should.
Not as much. We all don't. That's fine. So no, that's really, really good to hear, actually. So moving on with the plethoric structure as well, it also means that there is a possibility of liver congestion or like a reduced bile flow, and which means that you'd be prone to maybe a higher uric acid and increased inflammation. The inflammation could then also mean in your hands, like you're experiencing. But do you find that you have any inflammation anywhere else, or no? It could also be a family trait, as mentioned before. So possibly this could be dating back to your parents or grandparents. But just something to keep in mind in some nurture points as well. What is your diet like?
Very healthy. Yeah.
Very healthy, yeah. So it just explain to me what you normally eat during the day.
During the day, during work, it would be sort of ham and salad rolls and 4 bananas, 2 apples, half a dozen muesli bars. Just a good mix of sort of healthy organic vegetables and protein. Yeah.
Okay, great. And protein, yeah, not a problem. And what about your fluid intake?
Fluid intake probably within maybe 6 to 8 litres a day, depending on how hot the day is. Sometimes more. Yeah.
Is that water or?
That'll be water, and then with lunch I have electrolytes. Yeah.
Oh yeah, yep. And anything at night time? Any drinks or soft drinks, coffee? Beer, yeah. Couple of beers. How many would you average a night?
4.
4 a night? Yep. Okay, no worries. Alrighty. So I would probably just be aware that the high intake of, because do you drink coffee in the mornings as well? Yep. So you've got your coffee, and then you have your 4 drinks a night. So of the beer, that possibly that high intake could affect later on. You could be finding that your body is getting a little bit more inflamed. So maybe even taking a night off once in a while, or going to light beer, just changing it up a little bit.
I take turmeric, it's an anti-inflammatory.
That's good, actually. Yes, I noticed that you take turmeric and astaxanthin. So, and also some astaxanthin's brilliant for the sun as well, especially in summer, because working out in Brisbane, and then also your fish oil. So yeah, you're already underway. Yeah, you must have an amazing woman looking after you.
Yes, too.
All right. So look, moving on with this also does mean that you could be prone later on in life, because obviously you're quite fit now and you're doing quite a lot of physical labour. But later on in life, it does mean that you could be quite prone to losing the tone in your torso. So you just have to be a little bit careful that if you do stop construction, for example, and you do go to a less active job, that maybe to keep up, you know, certain exercises, so maybe join CrossFit or, you know, running or anything that, you know, anything that you can do and something that works the torso, just because that could lead to back pain later on. So I did notice that you put in your health history that you did have like a slight curve of the spine when you were younger. Yeah. Scoliosis. Yeah. And how did you manage with that, or how are you going with that today?
Well, through the osteopath and sort of managing sort of strengthening exercises, because they can also be contributing factor to the carpal tunnel. So.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, brilliant. No, that's good. Yeah, wonderful. And then what about, do you find that you have quite a lot of back pain, or with the job that you're doing? No? That's brilliant. Yeah, that's really good. So it's probably just something just to be a little bit more aware of, that when you do stop such physical activity, that maybe take up something else that you can enjoy. All right. So let's have a look. Now, just another sign that the structure could also have is that you could experience some, you know, large pores of blackheads. Now, your skin does look actually quite healthy from here. Do you experience any of those, especially working the heat? And
get the odd one, but not in general, no.
Yeah. Okay, no worries. And how do you? What is your health routine for your skin in the morning or night? Because being in construction, it can be quite gritty and dirty.
Yeah, sort of two showers a day and sort of clean and sunscreen during the day with moisturiser in it. But I probably should moisturise at night, but I'll work on that.
Well, at least you're aware of it. That's the main thing. So being aware of it is the first step. Lovely. So just mainly all in all that we've come from this structure is to increase or keep your fluid intake quite high. Have quite a nice healthy diet, which it sounds like you do with the beautiful organic vegetables and fruit that you eat, and a diet also that's high in fibre, just for your digestion to help. So yeah, all right. So another thing that I did notice in here is now the collarette I'm going to be talking about is actually this boundary here, this jaggedness here. So you do have quite a jagged collarette. And look, people have small collarettes, they have non-existent ones. It just depends what it is. Yours is quite jagged, so it does also mean something else as well. So it does mean that you could be a little bit more prone to like IBS and constipation, diarrhea, especially when you're stressed. You could have loose bowels and things like that. Do you notice anything like that? How are your bowel movements and
regular?
Yeah.
Perfectly full.
Brilliant.
No issues.
Before? Wonderful. No, that's really good. So maybe that could be something that has been in the past for in your family. Are you aware of that maybe? Or
not aware.
No? Okay, not aware. Well, probably just to make yourself a little bit more aware of that it could possibly be something down in the future. So now I have also noticed, now let me just have another look just to make sure. Just going to pop this around here to your left. Yeah, I just want to see how it is on the other side. Great. So I did notice that there's like a little bit of a yellow tinge in your eye, and it actually does show up here just a little bit in the camera, not as well as I can actually see with my eyes. But you can see that there's like a little bit of a yellow tinge there. So usually that means, and because it's actually inside that collarette region, as I mentioned before, that's the digestion zone. So that does mean that the primary nurture point there would be like the renal system. It's more of a gastric type of pigment, that yellow. So what I mean by primary nurture point is it's something to be aware of and something to nurture as well, because it could start to bring up symptoms if you haven't actually seen the symptoms already. So maybe later on in life, or because you do have those type fibres, and because you do recover from any illnesses that you have really quite quickly, and you do bounce back really quickly, you might not even notice the symptoms until you know that they are at more progressive stages. So it's just being aware that with the primary nurture point being the renal system, that you could have, if you have a poor urine output, it means that your uric acid would actually build up. And again, then that means that just to drink plenty of water, you know, try and cut down on, you know, alcohol and soft drinks, fizzy drinks. You actually mentioned here that you don't drink any fizzy drinks, which is brilliant. So that and coffee. So, you know, the three main ones, two of those you do have, but, you know, every now and then maybe take a little bit of a breather from them. Coffee is a little bit hard, I'd say. All right. There we go. All right, now there's another little spot. What I'm going to do is I'm going to reference back to the frontal photo that we went to. So that's the blue one here. Now I did notice that just up here in your right eye, you have like a little bit of a darker spot there. Now that's just on the outside of your collarette. Now that little dark spot, it's called a cold spot. And it's just something that we need to be a little bit more aware of, that it's there and what it relates to. So that actually, this is where I'm going to bring out the little eye map, which is really great. So I was talking about it before. So that actually relates to your pancreas. So that would then again mean it's just another nurture point. But as we mentioned before, we've kind of been covering, you know, your pancreas, the bile, the renal system, and that's all quite related. So it just means to be a little bit more aware of what you're eating, what you're drinking, keep your diet nice and healthy and clean. Make sure that you're giving your body the best possible chance of cleaning out its system, so it's not keeping in any of that uric acid and storing that up in your body. So then you don't have that inflammatory, you know, responses and things like that. But look, what you're doing at the moment with going to an osteopath and getting those massages weekly and eating really healthy, and also with the physical work that you're doing, it seems like you've got a really good balance. You know, how would you describe that? Do you think that you're well underway or well under track?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Healthy and vitality and all that.
Yeah. Oh, good. Yeah. And how did you find the examination today? Was it everything that you hoped it would be?
Good, very clear, concise.
Yep. Okay, good. Well, what I've done is I've made some notes here. So, and I've taken some actual printouts and photos. I'll take them and put them on your file. Everything is really confidential of everything that we spoke about today. If I did see any issues, as I mentioned, this isn't an exam that you can go away and say, hey, I'm 110% healthy, I don't need to go and see the doctor, or, you know, if I have a little illness. This is just, you know, a non-invasive non-diagnostic exam. So that being said, I've put all the notes in here, but if there's anything that I did see today out of the ordinary, I would have then mentioned to go and see, you know, a GP or recommend to see anyone else.
Sure.
But at the moment, with all the vitamins that you're taking and leading a pretty healthy lifestyle, I can't even recommend that you need to come back and see me, unfortunately. But fortunately, actually. So yeah, so do you have any questions for me?
Not at all. Thank you very much.
No? Wonderful. Okay. Well, you have a lovely day, and thank you for coming in today for the exam.
Cheers.
Thanks.